Hey guys, happy Saturday. It's been a little while, but I have a new project for us, and um, what I wanted to do is I have a video on this altered book cover, and while I like it, I think that it needs a little bit of something else. So what I thought I would do is create an embellishment for this cover. And my idea is, in my backyard, I have a tree. I don't know what kind of tree it is, but it loses its bark quite a bit. And the bark is fairly thin, almost paper-like. So I've collected a bunch of the bark, and I am going to make an embellishment with this piece of bark. And what I have done is created a template. So I want this to say field notes on this piece of bark. I'm going to try to burn it in here. So I hope on this, so hopefully it turns out okay. So here's my piece of bark. It's fairly flat, so I can glue it on to this. And I'm going to, I have this template that I have made with my Cricut Explorer. And I'm going to take it, and this is on a piece of just index card. You could use cardstock or any thicker sheet of paper. You might want to use a little thicker piece than this, because I started to use this as a template, and the smaller pieces were a little bit, they're a little delicate. So I'm going to have to be careful with this as I transfer this to the bark. So what I'm going to do is just transfer this with a pin, just kind of fit it on there, you know, where the letters will fit the best. I did measure ahead of time the size of the surface area that I could use before I created this. Let me zoom you in, because I think you're a little bit too far. At least I like to see up close. So there we go. The only problem with the Cricut is, you know, or making your own templates, even with letters, you know, there's the open area of the D, the E, and the O, which, you know, completely gets lost when it's cut out. So I'll have to accommodate for that, just kind of deal with that as I go. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and trace this on here. Let's see how far up I want these letters. Go move it over. It doesn't have to be perfect. And what do I do with my pen? So I'm just using a permanent pen. This one's a zebra black pen, and it's archival, it's waterproof, so you can use any like archival ink to trace over. And I need to move up a little bit, don't I? Okay. So all I'm going to do is go and trace around in the inside of these, and I'm just going to leave, of course, the open area for the O. Be careful right here, because that little piece of paper's delicate and it moves on me, so then I'll trace around the E, leaving that opening for the E to be careful. I press awful hard when I draw and write, so I got to remember to just have a lighter hand. The ink of this pen flows really well, so I really don't need to push so hard. And these I got at the Dollar Tree like a while back, but they don't have them anymore. Of course, you can get the Pigma pens, whatever, that has a nice flowing ink, and I'm just using blacks, and then I can see it better. You could use white whatever color that's going to show up. I'm just holding that little piece down of that end so it doesn't move so much. Like I said, it doesn't have to be exact and perfect. You can freehand this if you want. You could stamp the letters on if you wanted to. If you already have some templates, doesn't even have to be the same words. This is just giving you an idea of what you can do with like natural objects that you can find in your backyard or when you're walking through the park or whatever. So we'll see how this looks here when I mean, you could use marker as well to go over this just lightly to fill in. I'm sorry if you can't see that. Yeah, that is okay. You might need a little skinnier pen than what I've got here, because just to get into those smaller areas. The size of this is about this area is about 1.5 wide by probably, oh, it's less than 1 inch high. I think that looks good. So there I've got my words filled in, and then I've got all of this blank space here, which is fine. I like that. I may leave all of that, or I may just tear a piece of this off. I may just do that. Let's do that. Just kind of see if I can rip that off a little bit. So right there, I had a nicer piece than this, and I ruined it, so this was the best piece that I had outside of that one, so I'm a little disappointed, but whatever. So anyway, I'm going to heat up my burn tool, and I will be back, and I'll just kind of briefly show you the burning process and come back and show you what it looks like. So be right back. Okay, so I've got my burn tool heated up. It's been heating up for a couple minutes. Probably should have it heating up for about 5 minutes. There is something smoking on this. I don't know if you can see that, but I don't know what's on it, plastic or something. I have no idea. But there's a little bit of smoke coming off where I've got something melted right here, so ignore that. So I'm just self-explanatory. You're going to take this burn tool. I've got this little tip on the end here that I'm just going to carefully trace all of that area, that black area, and burn those letters into this bark. So just lightly and very carefully just going over this. And I did kind of cheat a little bit and started with the F a little bit, so you can see there that the F, you can see that F a little bit better than the rest of them. It's got a little bit of darkness, more dark than the pen that I've used. So this is going to take just a little bit of time because I want to carefully just and lightly just go over and over these lines, just to get like the darkness, the thickness that I want. So just, you gotta have a steady hand for this, which I do not have. So we'll see how it turns out. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. My journal is more nature themed. Well, it is nature themed, and at least the cover is, and I think that's what I'm going to go for with the guts of the journal. So at some point I'll be working on the inside of those pages. So I will complete the burning of this, and I will be back with the results, and then I will do one other thing with this. So when I'm done, I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so I'm done burning in the letters, and um, doing this, if your bark is, or your piece of wood is darker, I would suggest that you first stencil in your letters with black, so that kind of helps it stand out. Because with my burn tool, it more lightened the letters than it did darken them. So I think the having that black underneath really helped out. I did take the burn tool and also kind of slowly run around the edges of this. You can't really tell that much, but that's okay. I think it still looks pretty neat. So the next step I'm going to do, I want to preserve this piece of bark. So I have this, and I believe this is triple thick. I've never used this before, but I had found this at Hobby Lobby a while back, a few months back. It was on clearance for $1 because there's no label on it, but it was right next to the rest of the jars of triple thick. So this is going to give it a nice glossy coating. So what I'm going to do is just take a brush and go over the front of this, because I'll glue it. I'll end up gluing it to the cover, so probably with some gel medium, so I won't need to do the back of it. So I'm just going to brush on a thin layer of this triple thick and let it dry. And I apologize for the mowing sounds if you hear those. I'm not sure if you can hear that, but it's pretty loud in here. So we've got a thin layer of this triple thick, and I may do 2 coats. I'll wait for this to dry and see how it turns out, and maybe do another coat. I'll let you know what I do with it. So here it is. It should dry. It should dry clear. We'll see how long this takes to dry. And then I'll return. So I'll be back when this dries, show you what it looks like. Okay, so it's not quite dry, but it's close. It's been, I don't know, 10 minutes. I just put a thin coat. It's still cool to the touch, so I can tell that it's not completely dry. I have a problem with this. I think it's too dark. Should have known. I mean, once you like put something on wood, it's going to darken it. It would be okay, you know, if you actually, you know, if the letters were white. But depending on the light, excuse me for the mowing sound again. And then when I put it on here, I don't think there's enough contrast between the background and this embellishment. So I'm going to try something. I am going to sand this off a little bit. Oop, and it's still wet, so it may... I'm going to like sand this and lighten this. And we'll just see how this turns out, because yeah, it's still quite wet. I can't wait, of course, because I have no patience when this comes to this stuff and filming. I just want to like hurry up and get it posted, and then it causes me to mess up. Okay. But, so I'm sanding this entire triple thick off of here. And maybe I'll just use a matte medium. I'm not sure. I kind of like the difference between this darkness and the lightness here. So I may leave this. Alright, so I've sanded off all of the ink, it looks like, and so what's left is that indentation that was created with the burn tool. And there's that. I may go over this again. I like this better because this is more natural, it's lighter, and let's see what it looks like up against this. So that's better. There's more contrast there. Just kind of deciding where I'd want to put it. I think I'm still going to need something to preserve this wood, but perhaps just the glue on the back is going to be okay. Let me sand this a little more. Okay, so I kind of like that, but then I don't know if it goes with the metal. I mean, I guess the contrast between the metal and the natural wood is nice, but I think I need something else to tie it together. And let's see. I have this silver. Let's try this silver. I have this silver marker that I got from the Dollar Tree. This was around the time, it was around Christmas time. These are the ornament ball markers. This is metallic. Writes on glass and plastic. I'm sure it writes on wood as well. I'm going to kind of, let's do this. Let's edge. I don't know if you can see that very well. I can, but I don't think you can. Outline the edge of this guy with some silver. Can you see that at all? Yeah, I think you guys could see it a little bit. What was going to be a short video of creating a really quick embellishment with some tree bark is now getting a little more complicated. I guess what I had before would work well with a lighter book cover. However, I still think that the triple thick, since it darkens this bark, it's not letting those letters show up very well. So perhaps I should have sanded it. Well, this is the first time I've done this, so learn as you go. At least if you watch this through, you'll know what not to do, what to do, and what not to do, and what will work and what won't work. So yeah, just a little bit of a shimmer around the edge of this. It kind of looks like the state of Kentucky. Kind of. Not quite. Or Tennessee. I like that. Let's see how it looks up against this. I think that ties it in a lot better. I think you can see that better. I'm going to go over this with the burn tool again just to darken this, see if I can get this darkened. If that doesn't work, I may just go over it again with some of the pen. And then we'll continue on and we will be close to finish because I like it better now. Okay, so I'm really happy with how this turned out after I sanded it down and went over it again with the burn tool just to make it just a little bit darker. I have glued it down with some of this Liquitex Ultra Matte Gel. So this is gel medium, and didn't film that part of it. It still needs to dry a little bit longer. It'll dry clear, but what I did was brush on a thick layer of the gel medium on the surface of the of the cover and then on the back side of this piece of bark, and then placed it where I wanted to place it. And I have had this sitting for, I don't know, hour and a half or so, under some heavy books, and I'll continue to do that. Excuse the cat meowing really loud. Oh my goodness. So, anyway, hopefully, I hope you like this project. Give it a try, and if you liked it, let me know. Give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I will return with some more projects. And thank you again for watching. Hope you like this. Bye bye, guys.